tuned in to the Indie LA experience.
Aaron, what do you think about all of this this Web3 discussions that's going on, the NFTs, the digital art?
Yeah, I mean, I guess Web3, a lot of people kind of just correlate that with the metaverse, which was a term kind of coined, I guess, mostly by Facebook, which is more of a virtual reality thing. But I guess Web3 is more about the next iteration of the internet that we have now. We kind of went from very basic, where we're just like sending emails, maybe a photo. And then, as things kind of upgraded, now we're, live chatting with video, live streaming, television, all those things have gone full streaming.
Mm-hmm.
And, Web3 really is just kind of the next iteration of the internet. So it's just meant to be a little bit more inclusive, maybe a little less centralized. So it's not, so many things aren't just owned by the major corporations. And I guess there's just more interaction. So like artificial intelligence, also virtual reality is just like a little bit more of a lifelike, I guess, experience online. So there's a lot of cool things going on with that. I know you've had a little bit of experience with the NFT during the NFT craze.
A little bit, not so good, but yeah, I was off to a rough start, I'll be honest. I got me some cryptocurrency. I just remember purchasing it and getting really excited about owning like some digital art, and I still am excited about it. I know that I have faith in it, like working out for myself and for others, and it just being like another tool, another form of exchange for sure. Yeah, so my initial experience, I didn't really pay close attention to how it was you were supposed to purchase the actual art.
Okay.
I missed a few instructions and
you skipped to the end.
Yeah, I must have skipped to the end. And when I made my first purchase, it actually ended up being a scam.
Oh no.
Yeah, and I lost.
What did you buy or not buy? I should say.
I bought what I thought was like a cool just piece of digital art, but someone had like mocked the website, and I didn't know from the Discord that they kind of share like those red flags. They share like the scammers.
Okay.
And didn't double check. Everything looked like the real website, and when I just basically ended up sending Ethereum to just a random account. Yeah. Never got the art.
Damn.
Messaged the company too. I never got a response from any of them. So that whole thing kind of like turned me off of it. But I'm the kind of person that, when I mess up like something in that fashion, I want to learn how to do it again and get it right.
Yeah.
So I did go back and I figured it out, and I purchased my own. I have my own little.
What do you got?
Giraffe character. He's tiny little. He's got a little graduation cap and is sticking his tongue out, and it's really goofy.
Cool.
And maybe a waste, but we'll see. It's my own little piece of digital art.
It's a tool for artists to kind of own and sell their work. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah. And
those scammers though, man, they take advantage of anything new they can get people with, right?
Yeah. And I can definitely see it growing in the music industry as well. I'm already seeing artists promote their stuff in that fashion, and yeah, it's really exciting stuff.
Well, our guest today is utilizing all of those new Web3 tools in her creation process.
It's kind of lonely starting out as a solo artist, but through this songwriting camp, I've met so many other artists who are also like doing Web2, Web3 stuff. They're further ahead in innovating with how to use that space, which is really cool to see.
All right, we're in the studio today with singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, and filmmaker Losa. Thanks for being here with us.
Welcome.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah.
Let's jump right in and go down the list. What got you into filmmaking, first of all?
Yeah. Back in high school, all the way back in high school, I was in I was both in marching band and like a backstage theater crew class that we had.
Okay.
And kind of, I don't know, I think from that background, just doing that in high school, I just like was deciding on a major. I was also really obsessed with going to college. So I was like, I'm going to go to college and I'm going to pick what I'm going to do. And filmmaking sounded super cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's eventually, it's what I went to school for it and studied it. And I just started watching a lot of movies. And I feel like another thing was, it was just a way to connect with people without having to say much.
Sure, like the visual storytelling.
Yeah. The storytelling really hooked me, and like I don't know, it's like I guess like in filmmaking school, right, you pick like your top 5, and that's kind of like a conversation point with people, and you're like, oh, these are my favorite movies, what are your favorite movies?
Okay.
Type of thing.
It's a good way to meet people and network.
Yeah.
What were some of your favorites?
Before Sunrise by Richard Linklater. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I don't know that one actually.
I don't think I know it either, but
Okay.
I'm also not like a film like buff. Like I don't. Tell us about it.
That's on me.
Yeah. No, it's like 2 people. It's set in 1994, and it's basically this girl and this guy just like randomly meet on a train, and he asks her like, hey, like, do you want to go on a date with me and like just leave the train? And she says yes, and then the film just like follows them talking for like 2 hours.
Okay.
Which doesn't sound interesting, but like it made me really interested in like slice of life style movies of just like, oh, this is just like a portrait of what is. So yeah.
You like those like real life kind of human stories.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, like the real life. And then I also like this like just like grand movies. Like I love Jurassic Park, the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
That's
first one. And then I think another, I don't think it was an A24 movie, but it's called American Honey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, I know that one.
Oh yeah. No, that movie, like, I don't know, that just was like so raw and like hit.
Okay. Cool.
Were either of your parents involved in that world of entertainment or storytelling or film?
Actually, my parents were very religious.
Okay.
So a lot of like church. But no, my dad was like more into like ministry, and then my mom was more into, I guess she just did other stuff, but she was a musician. So there was, or she has a music background. So that kind of has influenced me towards the music side too. But movies became a way of like, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, I feel like I wasn't a very good communicator when I was younger. So like movies were like, oh, this is how I can like speak to people.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I was very shy too when I was younger, and films and my area of study, and you know what I do as well. When you were applying to film school, was there a particular avenue you knew you wanted to go, or were you kind of just like, I'm here, like I want to learn all of it, you know, what and see what direction kind of pulls you?
Yeah. No, I was like, oh, I want to be a film director. Like I want to make the movies. And oh man, that like catapults into like the music side or like a whole story, but I can say that later or something.
No, go for it.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to be a film director. It was like a dream of mine, and I don't know, I'm really big on like dreams and following your dreams and stuff. So a few years ago during early lockdown time, I actually got into this like very new but sort of prestigious film mentorship program where I got in, I applied, I got in. I was paired with a DGA film director, commercial director, and we started doing this mentorship, which was we would meet once a month. Like we would meet once a month for an hour on Zoom and just kind of talk about, and sort of, you know, the program was to do that for a whole year and sort of develop you into that. And I think a few months in, he was really pushing me to, okay, what story do you really want to tell? Like, what's your thing? And of course I sent him like a short film I wrote. I talked about things I was interested in, but he's like, okay, so he just kept pushing the, like, what do you really, really want to do? And finally we were doing another mentorship session, and I just said, I was like, I really want to pursue music. I want to be an artist. And he's like, good luck.
Okay.
So, but I also think the film director in me was more like, I just wanted to switching to music. Like I wanted to tell my story more so than like, you know, I was really thinking like, is there a story I want to tell? And I had felt like I'd never told my own story. So it was like, oh, it's just more of an internal focus now. And I never knew how to articulate that with all the other stuff I was doing. Yeah.
Okay. And you felt like music was that avenue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And then especially with music, I was in church choir as a kid for 10 years. So I started when I was like 6 years old
Okay.
singing.
You developed an ear like pretty early on.
Yeah. So I did that till I was like 16. And then I thought it wasn't cool anymore. I was like, oh, this isn't cool. I don't want to do the choir thing. Then I moved schools in middle school, and I joined the marching band because I was in marching band, or I was in band previously, and I was like very shy and like, oh, I have to make friends again. But marching band gave me such a foundation for everything. I became like a super geek, like a super marching band geek. And
Yeah. I was there.
Yeah.
yeah, you were there.
I was on the field. Yeah.
Hey, I
Yeah.
see.
Like I feel like doing marching band like created like a certain level of like discipline in me for sure. Like the memorization, the technique, like it forced you to be even better at your instrument when you had to like move with it like as well, and like be a small part of this like bigger picture. Like it created like teamwork, it created endurance, like of like any direction.
Yeah, it really gave me drive.
Yeah.
And I was so into it that I became the drum major, and then I became the president.
Wow. Dude, I was a drum major too.
Oh wow, this was meant to be.
Yeah, like getting up there, and we talked about this like with another guest, but like the conducting like piece is like it's difficult. But like how long were you a drum major?
I was like assistant when I was a sophomore, and then I was the head drum major for 2 years.
Whoa, man. I didn't get it till my senior year, man. That's awesome.
Well, we also had it like I was specifically more into the spinning more than the conducting, like
I
with
got
the
you.
baton.
Sure.
So it was like a little bit.
Yeah. Did you have I remember this move like on the field, this like high kick that we had to do.
Can I see?
Oh man, I'm gonna do it with my arms. Yeah. So you like did like this like really high like leaning your head back kind of like but there was all these like weird like kind of like moves that the drum majors like did. And
Is this while you're conducting?
no, this was like marching onto the field. Like me and another kid
okay.
ran out into the field, and we did like a high
like running march
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing?
yeah.
Okay.
So there's all sorts of like theatrical like things that drum majors did. Like, did you experience like some of that as well?
Not the running out the field. That reminds me of like drumline.
Oh yeah.
But definitely stuff like that, like parades and meeting, like during football games, you like meet the other school and like coming up with salutes and stuff.
Yeah. I want to go back a little bit. You talked about enjoying like the lifestyle types of films. I'm kind of curious about how going to film school has changed the way you look at films, because I know I only took like a single course like when I was in high school, and it was just called film study, and we watched just like small clips of a movie. I remember it was Dark Knight, and we talked about like the transitions between like two scenes. You had like this scene with Batman and Joker, and the music was like super intense, and then it went over to Gordon like talking to his kid, and like the tone changed, and like the lighting and like everything. So now I can't watch a movie the same
without analyzing.
It was just the one class, and it wasn't even like a semester long. It was actually a section of my English class. So like I'm curious, like both of you guys who are into film and studied it, like has that changed how you look at movies?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think sometimes when I'm watching a movie, I can just like phase out and like imagine the screenplay on the side, like scrolling.
Yeah.
When the dialogue is like sounds a little written, I'm like, oh, someone wrote this.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely do, but I feel like I can still turn it off.
Yeah.
For certain things anyway.
Okay.
You know, if it's something I'm really looking forward to, or, you know, I really enjoy, I can still relax and kind of and turn it off. But definitely analyzing, you know, lines and all that kind of stuff. And
camera angles,
composition and things. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I imagine you do the same with music a little bit, no?
Yeah. All the time. It's music. I'm like, this could be a little bit higher. This you could bring this out in the mix a little bit more, or their voice isn't sitting on top right, or I try to just like relax and enjoy, like you're saying. But yeah, sometimes I find like filtering that out is a little difficult, but
okay, so you're on this journey in film school. I know you also did a few internships, I believe, afterwards.
I did.
Yeah?
Yeah, I know. I was like, I did so much. I feel like I've lived like 3 lives.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just starting.
Let's hear about all 3.
Oh my God. Yeah, I also, while I was in school, got into this internship program, which gave you a summer internship with a corporate sponsor every summer. So mine was CBS,
Okay.
and I got to intern at the Arsenio Hall show for one summer.
Yeah. Marcus and I were talking about this the other day.
Oh, really?
Because we didn't know they brought it back.
Yeah, no, I didn't either. I
Yeah.
was like, whoa, what? Like the one in the 90s? Like,
Yeah,
okay.
they brought it. They brought it back. I think it was like 2013, 14 for like one season.
Okay.
And then I was like there the summer before the season started. That Entertainment Tonight and CBS Films, like the film studio. Yeah, and that I was like there interviewing everybody, just asking them like, oh, do you like your job? Like, what do you do? Do you have stuff for me to do? Kind of all over the place.
Is there anything you took away from that experience being on, that kind of a soundstage on a, at a major network that really stuck with you?
Yeah, I think just made me more excited to get into entertainment after graduating, because I was like, oh, I know what's there. And also I did go to school in the East Coast, where I'm originally from LA. So then I went out there being like, oh, I'm eventually just going to go back. Like, it's, it just made me more excited just to be around like people who took it seriously, and like, this is like, wow, this is what they do for work. Kind of like see all the behind the scenes and everything.
So you had this film mentorship,
Mm-hmm.
and you're talking to your mentor, and you tell him that you think you want to express yourself through music, that you want to tell your story, but you think it's through music.
Mm-hmm.
How did you start to make that transition? Was it like a hard cut, or did you think that you were going to kind of blend the two things together?
It was kind of like, oh, I can like cuss. Does it matter?
Yeah, go
Or,
for it.
I don't know. I was
Of course
just
you can.
sure. Okay,
We're
I was
all
just,
adults here.
yeah. I know. It was just
My
like,
ears are covered.
okay. I don't know. It was just like, oh shit. Like, it's like I worked so hard for so many years, and like I'm finally at this point, and then all of a sudden I've been like, oh, I want to do music, and it's like I really have to commit to this. Like I really have to want it. So at the time it was 2020, so I had a lot more time on my hands to just kind of explore more. So
Do you feel like that time, that where everything kind of shut down and you had, that time of, I guess, self-reflection? Do you feel like that's kind of when you really figured it out?
Yes, I feel like, yeah, I had a lot of time for self-reflecting. I was journaling. At some point I was waking up at 7 a.m. every day and like going on a long walk and just thinking about everything. And I just felt that my background and what I have to say and everything I want to express feels like I hadn't seen it anywhere, and that like this is something I feel like I want to leave behind a legacy.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about your writing process a little bit. You like to incorporate elements of your heritage in your art, yes?
Yeah, so one is that I've taken several trips back to the Philippines, and I would record stuff on my phone from just places we visited, this kind of background noise, and that's something I want to incorporate in a few songs that I'm working on right now.
Okay, was it in nature or was it in public? Just kind of a mix of...
It was in nature.
Oh.
Yeah, so incorporating just like an ambient nature sound in the background. One of them I did record, I guess it was like some native instruments being played. So that was really cool. And then, yeah, another way I want to do that with, I don't know, just future music I'm working on is I follow so many like Filipino Instagram accounts, and there's a lot of really cool musicians that are utilizing native instruments from the Philippines into their music. So that's something that's on my like to-do list of like mix it in there.
Okay.
Eventually.
Were you exposed to some of those instruments and that music from a young age at home growing up with your parents?
I wasn't actually.
No?
Yeah. So it's kind of been this whole, and also my parents were very like, yeah, I learned about my heritage as I was growing up, but they were also just like very like proud to be American, if that makes any sense. So I feel like a lot of this has been a personal return and desire to want to find that. Yeah. it's part of my whole artist journey has been wanting to explore that and eventually put that in. And especially from my dad's side, like my Indian side, which I've been to India before, but I haven't been to Nagaland. I've actually never met any of my actual relatives from that side.
So tell us about your new EP that you're working on.
Yeah, so I currently have one single from it already out, but the rest of it is in total a collection of 6 different songs that each one of them is to be slightly different, but kind of just represents sort of reoccurring emotions and feelings I've had, but also through different life experiences I've had kind of mixed into these songs. So it's like, yeah, personal.
Yeah, I mean, when you like add like a personal touch to your art, your listeners can like connect more for sure. Like I think myself, I try to like write songs based on like things that have like already happened, but I also try to think about like how this could be like relatable situation to like other people. So is that something that you're like thinking about when you try to like build an audience?
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. And yeah, with my first song, Obscurrity, that one's very much like, I don't know, I guess I wrote it in mind with the idea of like, oh, this is a song, like, imagine you're like, it's like 6 a.m., you're driving home from a party and you're crossfaded and like the sun's coming up and you want to hear like, and it's like, it's meant to like keep you awake because there's like a lot of bass.
Okay.
So it was, coming from that, but then it's of course from like, that's sort of like half fictional. It comes from like a very specific memory I have in mind of something similar.
What was that experience?
Oh my God, I know. This is the
If you don't mind sharing.
No,
Yeah.
I do. This is the one where I'm like, oh man, do I say? It was basically I had a dream that I met someone, and then it's LA, and by chance I got invited to like a house party by this person, and I kind of just like, I dreamt about this. This is crazy. It's happening. So like I went to this party, and I don't know, instead of owning the dream and everything, I kind of just was so anxious and like made myself feel very small in the moment. And then, it happened. It was still a fun night, whatever. But so much afterthought of, should I have said something? Like what was, I don't know. I just,
A lot of like what ifs.
What ifs? Yeah. Like what if I wasn't so anxious and was being like my true self and just having a good time? Which, I mean, I was, I don't know. So it's, that kind of translated into this song, which became like what happens when you're thinking about all those like could have happened,
So you've got experiences that have happened in your life, right? And you've got your heritage. You've got you say that you go on like a lot of nature walks. Are there any other things that you try to like pull inspiration from, or anything else like in your life that inspire you to create?
I think environment. So like, I was born in downtown LA, which is, I don't know. I personally am like, oh, it's cool that I can claim that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, just kind of wanting to represent that in a way. And then another influence, I guess, just listening to other artists too. I listen to such a variety of music, but then I've started listening more to like specifically like female vocalists and independent artists that are doing similar things in their own ways. And I'm like, dang, if they can do it, I can do it. And then hopefully when people listen to me, they'll be like, if she can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Any artists in mind, like by name?
I was like, I thought about this.
Yeah, get some shout outs.
I know. I'm like, I think Tinashe is really cool. And I would say like Tinashe and Janae Aiko, because one, they're both from LA as well.
Okay. Yep.
I love the experimentalness that she has. I think just kind of like the freedom to do whatever you want and not let anything stop you. And Janae Aiko, because I think it's also, she has like a mixed background as well, so it's kind of inspiring to see like what she's made out of that through her own experiences. And then so many more. I guess an album I listened to recently was by an artist called Lolo Zuai.
Okay.
And
What kind of stuff is that?
It's very a lot of electronic inspired, but just I'm like I don't even know what genre she is. But no, she has a unique background too. She also sings in French and English, which I thought was cool. And her storytelling in her songs is very unique to her. So I don't know, I like that of like, oh, I want to make the storytelling in my songs like unique as well.
Nice.
Are you doing all of your songs in English, or are you also incorporating some words or phrases from your background?
Yeah, currently all in English.
Yep.
That would be really cool to explore in the future.
Yeah.
Of other Tagalog or Naga, which I don't know much of currently.
Well, you said your mom had kind of a music
Yeah.
background. What does she think of you making this transition?
Yeah.
Have you guys kind of connected? Because she's from the Philippines. You said,
Yes. Yeah. My mom's from the Philippines. I think she's happy that I'm singing again, or that, because she's definitely the one who put me in choir when I was a kid.
You did it for so long, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, my mom, she used to be or I guess she's still in it. She's currently in her like alumni virtual a cappella choir.
All right.
So it's really cool. I don't know. My mom and I were like, we kind of butt heads, but then we of course we love each other very much, but then I just see how similar we are because she's found her like second wind and is really into playing the ukulele. And so actually she's like given me a couple, or she gave me a ukulele, and so I have been using that to like make music.
Okay.
So like, oh, my mom would be happy.
Are you planning on using that film background with your music to kind of create music videos or anything like that with your content?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But I think I definitely had a moment where I was like, oh, I don't want to be seen as a filmmaker. I'm just a musician. But as I'm like really owning just like being an artist, I'm like, oh, everything you do kind of incorporates into whatever you create. So yeah, in the future, I'd love to co-direct or direct my own videos. But I also like the collaboration of letting other people find inspiration or like a vision through your music. That's been really cool too.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you that film process is so collaborative.
Mm-hmm.
Even branching off as a kind of a solo artist in music, I'm sure it's nice to kind of have a bit of that going on as well still.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like, especially since just starting out as a solo artist, it's been kind of lonely at times too. So just trying to find a way to make it like, because you're like, oh, music, I want to speak to people and connect with people, but then it's like you're on your own when you're independent. So it's like,
Finding balance.
Yeah.
Well, I want to go trail back a little bit to the filmmaking. We listed like some influences you have in like music. Do you have any filmmakers that you can think of?
Yeah, directors that you really were drawn to?
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, one was Richard Linklater, who like I just loved his very slice of life, almost like the characters you don't even know you're watching people. It feels so natural. I think another movie was Boyhood, which was like filmed over 12 years. And then Greta Gerwig. Yeah, I liked one of an earlier movie. Oh, I guess she acted in it. It's called Francis Ha. But I think Noah Baumbach. Noah Baumbach. He directed that. So
okay.
I like him too. Spielberg.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm like, we should.
Well, you said Jurassic Park was up there, right?
Yeah.
On your list?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm just like, we also like, side note, we share the same birthday. So I'm like, like
Destiny.
yeah. I'm like,
Meant to be.
yeah, exactly. Oh, Sean Baker is a director. He's done more like recent. Oh, and Damien Chazelle.
Okay.
I think if any musician has seen Whiplash.
Oh, I love Whiplash.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was inspiring, or not, also like terrifying.
Right. Yeah, I went to jazz school, and there was like some intensity, never that intense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that like watching that movie, it like there were like moments that were like a little bit like relatable, like having like a mentor that is like super like tough on you, but ultimately like, on your side and wanting to see you grow. But yeah, I know, I love that movie. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
let's get into your internet novel. Let's talk about that. Like, what inspired that?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. I wrote a whole long piece about what I did after I graduated from school, which was two friends and we co-founded a company together, making videos while traveling. And we did it on a renovated school bus.
That's cool.
Yeah, so we crowdfunded it. We like had the support of professors and stuff, and got friends to help us build this bus. And then we traveled across the country and then did those videos. But we were supposed to start the fall after graduating, so we're like early 20s. And then right before we were about to start, I was gonna make my way to the bus. I actually got into an accident that like put me out for 6 weeks.
Oh no.
Yeah. I know. I was like, I write about it in the story, which is why I'm like, oh, I've lived like so many lives. I was crossing the street and I got hit by a motorcycle. I know, I'm laughing. I know, it's a sad thing. It's like I'm laughing because I'm like, oh, the old trauma.
Yeah, because you're okay now.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good now. It was a long journey. But also why the whole music thing is so important to me, because like when that happened, I think this was like 2016, like I broke my jaw and like knocked out my teeth and stuff, and so I just felt like I couldn't express myself, I was so self-conscious, and it was like blah. But yeah, I don't know, so I just feel like part of my story is just like overcoming so many of those things, and like
How long were you on the bus for?
We did it for a year. So
okay.
I think my colleagues, they went on without me, and I joined them after a few weeks of just being at home and like being so miserable. I was like, no, I'm supposed to be on the bus. Yeah, so we were there for 9 months. I joined them in Texas, and then I think we were like Texas, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and then it's like South Carolina, making our way back to New York, where we originally started, because that's where we bought the bus from.
Okay.
And yeah, so that internet novel just really talks about, I was journaling the whole time and we were documenting everything. And I think, again, so much was prompted by the early lockdowns. I'd been working on this project, but once that happened, I was like, you know what, I need to just finish this project. I want this to be out.
Was this during the lockdown that you guys traveled on the bus?
No, it was earlier. So
okay, so it wasn't during
no,
okay.
Yeah, it was when I finished writing it. It was 2016, 2017.
Well, one of the projects I'm working on back in Michigan is all about van life.
Oh, nice.
I'll give a shout out to Drifter Vans company. Vans, they convert these custom camper vans, and we're telling these stories of these people that are like selling their homes, changing their lifestyle, taking life on the road with remote work and things. So I mean, I know that like nomadic, lifestyle like calls to a lot of people. Absolutely. Yeah, it was so much fun, and that's also partially another reason, like, just a very, very side note thing about like, I feel like the musician touring life sounds so fun to me because I did the bus thing. I was like, I know what it's like to travel across the country, and like, the people you meet, the connections. No, it's so fun.
So Losa, you actually brought like a little piece of audio that you wanted to share with us, right? From your track Obscurrity?
I did, yeah.
Let's listen to that.
The day will start. See you as you imagine, baby, what could we be if we give it time? Lost and found in cycles with you, I feel so sublime. Cruising down the highway, feeling like we're flying underneath the big sky. If I exit off this ride, will you stay on my mind?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Cool. Oh, thanks.
Ambiance.
I can picture what you're saying, like the sunset, you're cruising down. It's like
Yeah.
feels very like atmospheric. I don't know if is that a thing?
Yeah,
Is that a term?
yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So Losa, you also have this other song that's on a different platform that's involved with Web3. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I have a song, an EDM future-based song. I collaborated with this producer named Minddroid, and the song is, in addition to streaming platforms, it's also on this Web3 platform called Zora.
Okay.
And Web3, I got into the Web3 music scene a little bit a year ago when I joined this songwriting camp called Song Camp.
Okay.
And they were putting out this big project of collective creation, we called it, like having multiple artists like working together on songs and then rotating. And I was on the radio team, so we were kind of commentating what was happening during the process. But it was all virtual, so it was all through the internet, which is very much the ethos of the Web3 world. And yeah, it's fascinating because just specifically Web3 music, their ethos is really about getting artists paid directly through their music as opposed to going through streaming and labels
where they're taking percentages and things.
Yeah, there it's kind of, you get to decide the contract of the song. So let's say, for example, I worked with someone did visuals, and then we had the producer, so we came up with a contract of the split, the split goes directly to the people who worked on it and no one else. Like, it just goes to us if someone collects it. So it treats music as like a digital collectible.
It's like it's a style of like
That's cool.
ecosystem.
It's a bit of a different ecosystem, and I'm really fortunate to have gotten to the early parts of it, and now I think the music industry is like always changing, I suppose, and it's kind of a conversation now of what does it mean to release in Web 2, quote unquote, which is streaming platforms, and then Web 3, which is putting your song or your music as a digital collectible, whether it's like limited edition or not. Yeah.
That sounds cool.
Where do you see that going in, say, the next 10 years?
Ooh, I definitely see it becoming more and more relevant, way more so, because I think, I would consider myself still relatively new to the music industry. But from what I've seen so far, there is a big gap of how do you get an independent artist who's not backed by anything to, rise up the ranks without, it's just really hard. Really hard.
Absolutely.
Sorry. One more shout out for the Web3 thing. I also have 4 different versions of a lyric video for that second song on a Web3 video site called Glass.
Okay.
It's like glass.xyz. But yeah, and my concept for that was like I listed these 4 different videos as like called a one of one. So it's like one person can collect it and own it.
Yeah.
And then there's a version of that video on YouTube. So yeah, this is the example of like Web 2, Web 3. The Web 2 version's on YouTube, which it's there. Anyone can see it and check it out. And then these other 4 versions are only on Glass, and you can watch it there. But if you want to collect it, there's only one each, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's like one, if you buy it, you own that piece of it.
Yeah. I connect it, like the way of thinking was like, I think of it like Pokemon cards.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, Marcus, I know we've talked about this a little bit too with NFTs and digital art.
Yep.
And so it's kind of the same concept, but with your music, right? Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
No, that does sound cool. And it sounds like something I need to get into as well.
Let's talk.
Yeah, for sure.
I can point you to some directions. But it's very much a new and small community at the moment, and it's been really exciting, like meeting all these. As I was mentioning earlier, like it's kind of lonely starting out as a solo artist, but through the songwriting camp, I've met so many other artists who are also like doing Web 2, Web 3 stuff, and now I feel like I have more of a community, I guess, of just other artists doing stuff. So it's kind of inspiring too to see, and they're way more not way more. They're just like they're further ahead in innovating with how to use that space, which is really cool to see. So
well, and it's in such a innovative place right now where it's like constantly changing and growing. So that's also exciting, just in and of itself.
Yeah. So excited to be part of it, and I also that's another thing. When I release my music, I definitely want to do all those platforms. So like streaming, and I also want to make a Web3 component too. So
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice. So what are you working on next? What are some projects that are coming up for you?
Yeah, so I actually have a couple of collaboration songs working on next. I do have another song after this that I collaborated with a EDM future-based producer that's also out, and we're working on a second one, which would be cool. And then another collaboration track that's more on another producer's, like he's like self-releasing an album, and then I'm contributing vocals to one of his songs. It's more it's like feel good ambient ish.
Okay.
And then the EP, and I want to finish that like this year.
Yeah.
So
we're looking forward to it for sure.
Thank you.
Well, where can everybody find your music?
It is on all streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple Music.
What about your social? What's your social handle?
Yeah, my social handle on mostly everything except for TikTok is at Losa OK, LOSAOKAY.
Cool. Well, yeah, we're definitely really excited about the new music coming up, and we're gonna follow your journey for sure.
Thank you
let
so
us know
much.
as you're performing.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.